TempDev's NextGen flu vaccine clinic templates offer a quick, easy way to document the administration of the flu vaccine. I've got the end user template open for us, and we're going to review how to document in the flu vaccine clinic template. This template is broken out into a few different panels. The first panel is our patient search. There are a few different ways to search for your patient. You can search by demographic details like last name, first name, date of birth. You also have a person number and med rec field. And then there are also ways to search via appointments. Show only patients with kept appointments. You can change your appointment date to search for appointments on a different date. And then also search by appointment resource. Once you've determined the way to search for your patient, click the search button. So I'm going to go ahead and just search for patients with appointments today. And you'll notice that my search criteria falls into the grid. If my patient is not found via the demographics or the appointments, I can click the New Patient button to launch the Modify Patient Information screen and add a patient on the fly. Once I found my patient, I can highlight them from the grid, and then details begin filling out below for me. I can see my selected patient. I can see the rendering provider and supervising provider that will be attached to that encounter. If I need to make a change to the rendering or the supervisor, I can simply click in the field and select the appropriate rendering or supervising provider. Now that I've updated the rendering provider, you'll notice my supervising field has been removed because this provider does not require a supervising provider. I also have an open chart button that now is also displayed since I've selected a patient. I can open that patient's chart that's selected. So moving down the template, I do have options for patient allergies. This is very similar to what you would see in your immunizations module if you're used to documenting immunizations there, where you can click the No to All Allergies for that patient, or also select the radio buttons appropriate to any allergies for that patient. There is an existing allergies field here that would display any allergies that's in the patient's chart currently. I'm going to go ahead and select our No to All Allergies for us. And then in our next panel is the vaccine checklist. There is an option here to select all normal for our vaccine checklist for our patient. Selecting that would then select all the no radio buttons for us. If I needed to, document a yes for one of these, I can simply click the yes radio button if needed. You'll notice that alerts and information display in this panel for us to review on the vaccine checklist. Moving down on the next panel is the vaccine administration. So here's where you'll notice any previous immunizations the patients received that are currently in their chart. And then based on configuration, you'll notice in the immunization details, I have the options for VOC and non-VOC. These will be selected again, depending on the configuration that's available for your clinic. Ours is defaulted to non-VOC, and I'm going to leave it like that for us. But again, you have the radio button to switch between the two. To begin documenting, I click in the lot number field. This will bring up the vaccine inventory that's available for us. I can select the flu vaccine that I'm administering for this patient today and select OK. You'll notice all the information displays in the fields. I would do a quick review, and I can notice that my site is required and it is not filled out. I can go ahead and click in the site field and select the appropriate administration site. Once I say OK, again, you have options to review the registries. If it was VOC, review the funding source, VOC reason, and update those as needed. In this administration details section, you do have the option here to select this checkbox to change the vaccine administration date. So say, for example, we did a vaccine clinic on a Saturday and we were documenting everything that next Monday for those patients. That's where you would change that vaccine administration date for them. There's a section here for ordered, consent documented education materials and administered by. And those details are filled out, again, can be changed as needed. There's a comments field available to you where you have a My Phrases option to document any information applicable to that vaccine administration for your patient. We have options down below that to save and add new, which would then just clear this template for us and allow us to continue documenting in the administration for other patients. Or if I click my save and close, it'll save and close this template. So I'm going to go ahead and click that save and add new for us. And then my template has refreshed for me, and I can begin searching and documenting for a new patient. I do want to move down to the last panel to show you our vaccine administration log. So on this panel here, based on my vaccine date and location, I can see the log of the current patients that have been given the flu vaccine for that date. I can highlight our patient in this log. I would be able to then update any order tracking comments that would then go into the orders module and attach to this vaccine. I also then have the option to open the patient's chart. I can print that immunization record, generate that document and print. I can also remove and then save and close a template from here as well if need be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch the patient's chart so we can see what it looks like now that we've documented in that patient. So now that we're in the patient's chart, you'll notice that we have an encounter for today's date of service with my rendering provider and the location. I can see the vaccine checklist, the viz that was generated. I'll notice that there's procedures because those appropriate codes have now dropped into the procedures module, and then also the orders. So when I click on my orders module, and then I click my immunizations tab, you'll notice my influenza and the dose that was completed. Selecting that, I can then see all the information that we completed that was auto-generated for me based on that template. So that's just how you review the information. But again, when you're documenting within the clinic, you can just save and add new and continue documenting and administering those vaccines for those patients. And that is our end user tutorial on how to document in the flu vaccine clinic template.